My son passed away. He was only 23 years old and had just gotten married. I can't believe this. Amidst his widow Kate's sobbing, a quiet funeral was held. Kate's mother, Amy, looked at her daughter with disdain, snorting, "You're married into that family now, so don't even think about coming back to my house. It would be troublesome to have a daughter who's not cute, has poor manners, and doesn't turn much money come back home. I mean, I don't think of you as a daughter anymore. Whatever happens to you from now on is none of my business, so don't contact me, please. Goodbye." I knew she wasn't close with her parents, but such an attitude towards a grieving daughter was appalling. I felt sorry for Kate and decided to live with her. However, upon returning home, when Kate entered the room Parker used to use, she screamed and collapsed. What's wrong? That is, what she saw was, "I'm Nancy. I married my childhood friend David, and 3 years later, our son Parker was born. We had our ups and downs when we were younger, but after Parker was born, those memories faded. My life changed significantly after Parker. Becoming a stay-at-home mom, I spent a lot of time with my child. David and I used to come home from the same workplace, but then I began to welcome him at home. Parker was a lively boy and grew up quickly. It felt like just yesterday he started kindergarten, but he soon became a college student. You cried a lot about leaving me when you first went to kindergarten. Can you really live alone now? Don't treat me like a child forever. I'm an adult now, you know." Parker moved to a distant place when he became a college student. I still remember feeling truly lonely when it was time to let him go. "Nancy, you always talk about that, but you cried too, remember?" "I don't remember that. Yet, I felt a bit empty in our house without Parker." Parker kept in touch regularly and came home during long holidays. In his third year of college during summer, he brought home a girl. It was Kate. "Hi, I'm Kate. I've been in a relationship with Parker." "Nice to meet you." Kate, with a nervous voice, and Parker, scratching his nose shyly, surprised both David and me. Kate was a considerate girl, helping with cooking and cleaning, and very polite. Parker was our precious only son, but I never felt any ill will towards Kate. Rather, I was happy such a lovely girl like Parker. They met at their part-time job and eventually they decided to get married when Parker was about to graduate college. Marrying right after graduation. Isn't that a bit soon? Wouldn't it be better to wait until you're more settled? I know, but we're serious about each other and want to be together. I want to become a man who works hard for his family. Parker's mature gaze showed he was no longer a child. David and I eventually agreed to Parker's decision. Parker had found a job at a local company and decided to rent an apartment near our house. Kate's family lived far away, and there wasn't much communication. She seemed to be bewildered in unfamiliar surroundings when she started living in a new apartment. David and I would frequently invite the couple for meals and shopping. At first, Kate was a bit tense, but she soon blended in with us, and we became as close as a real family. "Nancy, something has been bothering me recently." That day, Kate and I were relaxing at home, watching TV and having coffee. I turned down the volume of the TV a little bit at the sudden cutout of the story. "What's wrong?" "It's about Parker. The other day, while he was in the shower, his phone rang. It seemed like a call. I felt uneasy as the story sounded like a typical soap opera, but Kate was smiling. "Don't worry, it's not about cheating or anything like that. The call was from my mom." "Your mom? You mean Amy?" I knew Amy only from Parker and Kate's wedding. She hadn't been very friendly or left a good impression as she only showed up on the day of the wedding and left immediately afterward. When I asked Parker, he said my mom occasionally calls to check on me. But to be honest, my mom is not really the type to worry about me. Kate said, sipping her coffee, looking puzzled yet slightly pleased. Even people who don't usually show it might start worrying when their daughter marries and moves far away. Maybe you should call her sometimes. If I were her, I'd be really happy to hear from you. Taking my advice, Kate called Amy that night. "Mom, I heard you've been asking Parker about me. If you're worried, you should call me directly. I'm doing fine here. Parker's parents are very kind to me." "Oh, that's good to hear." Kate felt a little suspicious with Amy's slightly awkward reply. By the way, did Parker say anything else about me?" "Nothing special, but why? Is something wrong?" "No, nothing. Don't worry." Amy hung up as soon as she heard that much. At the time, no one realized that it would be something we'd regret not discussing more. One day, Kate received a sudden call from Parker's work. Parker had collapsed at work. Kate informed us, and we rushed to the hospital. Kate stayed by his side constantly, but Parker didn't wake up. Without waking up once, Parker passed away quietly. We were stunned by the suddenness of the situation, but the doctor didn't seem surprised. Parker had been visiting the hospital for some time due to health issues. It seems it was due to mental exhaustion, but he kept it a secret from his family. Parker had been suffering from excessive stress. Parker always tried to be strong and not worry us or Kate. We immediately checked with his company about the work environment, but they hadn't imposed excessive overtime or tasks on him, and they even let him leave early occasionally. This probably allowed him to go to the hospital. We never found out the exact cause of his stress, but the loss left a huge void in our hearts. Kate considered going back to her parents' house, but when she talked to Amy, she was coldly dismissed. "You're married now, so you should live your life there. Don't come back and bother us." I couldn't leave Kate alone after her own mother had abandoned her. David and I discussed about Kate, and we decided to ask her if she wants to live with us. "Kate, why don't you live with us? You're like our daughter now." "But wouldn't I be a bother? How could a wonderful girl like you be a bother? After all, you're the girl our son proudly chose." "Really? Thank you so much." Kate thanked us with tears in her eyes. We decided to let Kate use the room Parker had as a student. "I feel bad for taking up a room. I'll clean it up myself, and if I find any of his mementos, I'll show them to you." With that, Kate started cleaning the room. With her in the house, it became a bit livelier, and David and I found ourselves smiling again. Suddenly, Kate burst out of Parker's room, screaming, "Nancy, look at this." What Kate brought out in her hands were several notebooks. "Is this Parker's diary? What did it say?" I couldn't believe my eyes as I looked through the notes. They were about Kate's mother, Amy. Since their marriage, it seemed Amy had been in close contact with Parker, but not out of concern for Kate. It was actually about demanding money. Amy tormented Parker with her demanding words, asking for astonishing amounts of money every month. "If you don't want to pay, I can call off your engagement with my daughter. Remember, you got married because I allowed it. You should be grateful." Parker had been struggling alone with this. Being new to the workforce and supporting his family, Parker thought he had to obey Amy, who forced him to pay. The thought of how much he must have struggled with this was unbearable. A few days later, we confronted Amy directly. When we mentioned Parker, she put on a falsely sad face, which I couldn't stand. "I'm sorry to hear that, but did you come all this way just to tell me that? It's honestly a nuisance. Stop pretending you know nothing. We know everything." I showed her Parker's notebooks. Amy's expression tightened for a moment, but then she scoffed. "It's only natural for a Sil to support his mill, isn't it? Making such a fuss, you still haven't let go of your child. He barely sent me anything unless I demanded it. I simply said I couldn't give my daughter to a man who couldn't meet my financial demands." Amy, unashamed and defiant, just laughed. Parker had suffered because of such a despicable person. My patience ran out. "What are you laughing at? He's gone now." Amy was shocked by my outburst. I stepped closer as she backed away. "I can't imagine how my precious son felt every day, how much he suffered. He's no longer here to tell us about his struggles. How dare you say such things? I'm not as kind as he was. You will pay for this." "Stop it. I did nothing wrong. You're just making accusations. Besides, he didn't confide in you either, right? He couldn't rely on you. Maybe that's why he was unwell. You could be the cause." Despite her continued defiance, I raised my hand in anger, but I slowly lowered it. I wanted to slap her so badly, but I suddenly recalled Parker's face. Parker was smiling at me. "Please don't slap her, Mom." I felt like I heard Parker's voice. Hitting Amy would have saddened him. I took a deep breath to calm myself. "Fine. Talking to you is pointless. We'll submit Parker's bank transaction records to the police and let them handle it." "Wait. Please not go to the police. What if I get arrested? It'll be too late then." "What are you talking about? It's already too late. The tragedy already happened, all started by you." Ignoring Amy's tearful pleas, we left. We immediately submitted the records and the notebooks to the police, and Amy was arrested for extortion. The investigation revealed that Amy had been soliciting money from several other people, and her crimes were likely more serious than anticipated. Amy sent numerous apology letters, all filled with excuses and self-preservation. She never truly repented. After about 5 letters, I stopped reading and tore them up. What I wanted wasn't an apology or another. It was the happy days we had with Parker. Even after settling matters with Amy, I missed Parker. Kate and I, longing to feel close to Parker, read his notebooks over and over. Despite the tough days, seeing Kate's smile gives me strength. I'm truly glad every day that I married her. I really respect my dad and mom. I'm truly glad to be their child. I hope Kate and I can become a couple like them one day. Despite the tough days, Parker did have days filled with joy, and these were indeed written in his diary. Knowing that Parker, who suffered to the point of breaking his body, had happiness in his heart, helps heal the wounds a little for both Kate and me. I felt like Parker still supports us even after he's gone. Kate, how about we prepare a feast tomorrow? Let's cook some fancy dishes. It's been a while. What about beef stew? The one Parker loved, your beef stew. I've been struggling to replicate your recipe. Then let's cook it together. I'll teach you how. Kate and I decided to go grocery shopping together for the first time in a long while. Though there were only 3 of us, we ended up buying ingredients for 4, and we both laughed about it.